For today, we'll be going through the items listed on the published agenda. My name is Rob Stokes. I'm the chair of the North Sydney Local Planning Panel, and I'd like to again welcome you all. And as is customary and appropriate, I'd like to open the meeting today by acknowledging the Cammeraygal people, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting here at the council chambers. And also wanted to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which you are coming to us from, and thank the traditional custodians for their custodianship of country, and pay that and extend those respects to First Nations people online with us. We are meeting today for the purpose of dealing with the matters on the published agenda. Just a few items of business before I will give the opportunity for the other members of the panel to introduce themselves. Obviously, the panellists have all had the opportunity to read the applications and the submissions made in relation to the applications published on the agenda. We've also had the benefit of a site visit and also a report from council staff in relation to all of these issues. The purpose then of today's meeting is to provide people who wish to present to the meeting today to have their opportunity to speak to us in person about their concerns in relation to items, also to address those concerns in the case of applicants and their architects or other consultants. For that purpose, I mentioned that everyone is entitled to have 3 minutes to briefly state what they wished to in relation to each item. Please remember that the panel has already read the written material, so there's no need to run us through things that we've already seen. Just an ordinary disclaimer applies. Please make sure that when you are speaking, that you reflect on the nature of things you say. Please make the comments relate to the applicants, to the applications themselves, not to the applicants or other submitters. And to that note, I note that the panel, neither the panel or the council takes any liability for anything that is said. So just please be careful because obviously everything that's said here is recorded, and names and identities are also recorded. So just be mindful of what we're saying because this is published online. And just a point of business also, please make sure you remain on mute until your item is called and you're asked to address the meeting. As I mentioned, everyone gets 3 minutes each. So again, I can hear that someone's not quite on mute, so I think that's terrific. So where was I? Yeah, you've got 3 minutes to speak. Unmute yourself for that. The only other issue I have to run you through is we'll have the opportunity to listen to concerns, to ask any questions we might have. Resident submitters will have the opportunity to go first, and then the applicant or their consultants will have the opportunity to respond after that. At the conclusion of the public section of this meeting, we will go in camera and make determinations in relation to each of those applications. The determinations and decisions we make will be published in the minutes, which will be published online by close of business on Friday. So I think I've captured everything that we need to run through before we move to item number 1, being DA number...
Introduction, so...
Oh, pardon me, I've forgotten the most important bit, which is the introduction to the panellists.
Including you.
Well, as mentioned, I'm Rob, I'm the panel chair, and please don't mark me on my performance so far. And I will now move to John and we'll introduce the panel.
My name is John McInerney. I'm an architect and town planner and past Deputy Lord Mayor of the City of Sydney.
I'm Ros Reid. I'm a town planner.
I'm Ken Robinson. I'm the community representative on the panel. I'm a resident of North Sydney, and I was an environmental scientist in past years.
Terrific. Well, there you have it. That's us. And so we'll now move on to the items on the agenda, starting with item number 1, being DA 270 of 24, address being 11 King George Street, Lavender Bay. I'll go straight to those registered to speak. The first being Camille Daunty Dennis, architect.
This is Camille. I'm Madeline with the architects. I think we will just go straight to our planner to give an introduction on our client's behalf, and we're here if there are any questions.
Thank you.
So Yvette?
Yvette?
Yvette's on mute.
Yvette, you're on mute? Yvette, are you there?
Yes, I am. I
Yep.
haven't been able to turn off my mute, unfortunately. Okay, good afternoon, panel chair, panel members and council staff. I'm Yvette Middleton from GSA Planning, consultant planners for this application. Thank you to council staff for the recommendation for approval. We have reviewed the recommended conditions and these are acceptable to our client and their architects, Madeline Blanchfield Architects. The existing house is a heritage item which was extensively altered in the late 20th century. This clean and restrained proposal seeks to remove extraneous development and provide clarity by separating the original dwelling from the proposed new extension. Thus, under the proposal, the original dwellings and its rooms can be read and understood. The light and airy pavilion with a garden outlook responds to the current owner's wishes to provide a contemporary living space for their family. The replacement pool will not dominate garden areas as per the existing pool, and extensive paved areas have been removed to ensure the site provides more than double the existing landscaped area. While there is a minor departure from the site coverage figures, this was considered acceptable in meetings with council staff due to the increased landscaping and the delineation provided between the original item and the new built form. Concerns raised during the assessment regarding protection of an existing tree and distances to neighbours on the master bedroom terrace resulted in further investigations. The tree branches were carefully assessed by the arborist and the terrace's form adjoining the master bedroom was altered and reduced. As we noted in our letter, with the terrace adjustments, the generous distance to neighbours from the balustrade edge is greater than the width of King George Street itself. As a result, privacy is maintained and tree protection is provided. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions relating to this proposal. The architects and I will do our utmost to provide answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yvette. Do members of the panel have any questions or concerns they want to raise with the planner or the architect?
No, thanks, Joe.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Nothing further. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, being DA number 182/22/5, address being 1 Hayes Street, Neutral Bay. I would call on Rachel Nolan, or Associate Professor Rachel Nolan, to address the panel.
I can't see. Rachel, are you there? Rachel advised that she would be late.
Okay. So to others online, we may, if Rachel is able to join us later, we might just take her any evidence she wants to provide when she turns up. So we may disturb the agenda slightly. In the meantime, I might ask Ryan Crosby from Metis Group to address the panel.
Hello all. Yeah, my name is Ryan. We are the principal's representative for the project. We have Jeff Kerno, the director here at Metis, Christina, the lead architect, and our ESD and BASIX consultant, Edward Wu from EMF Griffiths. Yeah, we concur with the assessment contained within the report and have no objection to the conditions. If any of the panel have any further questions for the team, then please provide them, but otherwise we have no further comment.
Terrific. Okay, well, I'll turn to the panel. Were there any issues that the panel wanted to raise in relation to this application?
No, thanks, Joe.
Nothing.
Terrific. We're moving pretty quickly then. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Nothing further. It might be, the only thing is if the submitter turns up, it might be useful to just, if she says anything that you might want to listen to, might be an idea to stay on. Peter, do we have any idea?
I'm just going to give her a call quickly and see where
So
she's at.
maybe just one of you stay on in case she turns up.
Because she did say 2:30.
That's
Maybe
fine.
not.
I will hold back. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. No worries.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3. DA number 137/23/4, address being 5 to 7 Lower Wickham Road, Neutral Bay. I'd call on Tom Vergona to address the panel.
Hello, can everyone hear me? My name's Tom Vergona. I represent the principal for 5 to 7 Lower Wickham Road. We support council's recommendation and thank you for their cooperation. We obviously had several assessors over our journey and several iterations to the plans, but I believe the current set of mods before the panel are a far improved outcome from the original DA that was submitted. I'd probably prefer if Bill Clement, who is our principal architect from PBD, and Felicia Huang to speak to the design changes, because I know the single objector isn't here, but maybe they could speak to some of the improvements from the streetscape that are provided by these mods. Felicia and Bill, if you're there.
I can see Bill.
Yep,
here we go.
Yep. Felicia, you there?
Yeah, I am here.
Do you want to lead off on that and I'll join in as we go?
Yes, I think we will speak to the design mods, and the nature of the proposed modifications generally come out of the results of the progress of the design development phase so far. So that includes the proposed garage style car lift to the streets, and various other components that has arrived to the decision so far. So thank you, the assessment officer, to provide the support for the recommendation for approval, and we believe that this is a greater outcome in terms of the design and also the improvement of the streetscape, as the street presents a few garages along the street as well. So any questions we'd like to take, if there's any, from the panel.
Any questions or concerns from the panel? Just one from me, only a minor point, but perhaps it might be worth advising the applicant that there's an advertising hoarding on the site at the moment that actually provides a misleading view of what's to be constructed there. So just now that obviously wait and see what happens in relation to the determination, but the sign gives a render that's not actually what the current proposal is. So just pass that on, or so perhaps you can let the applicant know that a minor point, but one worth pointing out, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's not an unusual thing. It does happen as
Of
things
course.
and things need to be updated through marketing processes. Look, I think that in conclusion, we just want to say the objections have been reviewed and they have been considered by council's planner, and we concur with the planner's recommendations in their report.
Okay, thank you very, very much. We appreciate your advice. Thank you. We then move on to item number 4, being DA number 384/24, relating to 48 Raymond Road, Neutral Bay. I know no one's registered to speak, but we were hoping that the architect might be able to be there. So now's your opportunity to present if you're there.
Yes, thank you for inviting us in. Yeah, we are here to answer any particular questions if you have them. We appreciate the process that council's taken through and that they've ended up with a recommendation for approval. We've looked at the conditions. We have no particular items or issues to raise in relation to that, and thank council for their review of this application. But I'll hand over to if there is any particular questions that people might have for this development.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. Are there members of the panel who would like to ask any questions in relation to 48 Raymond Road?
No, thanks.
It's Ros Reid here. You'll be aware that you were asked about the clause 4.6
Yes.
morning. It still contains some errors in it, and there are some statements in there that are poorly justified.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, and for instance, I'm not even really sure what the height is, but you know, 4.6 is a very important document, and I don't think a sufficient level of care has really been given to it.
Understood. Apologies for that. We can only sort of take that advice on and adjust it if council believes that's necessary to pick it up and review it again. We did make the changes that were highlighted there, picked up on the wrong set of objections for the zone, and that's been clarified. We've also confirmed now the height of the roof extension, which is actually 200 millimeters lower than the existing roof that's there at the moment, and we've supplied an amended section for that item. So in terms of the revision, which we've only just issued today.
Thank you very much for that. Obviously, our concern here, as expressed, relates less to the merits, but rather to our capacity to make a decision in relation to this matter, in relation to the way in which the 4.6 was written. So we'll reflect on that, but just so you understand the nature of the concern that we had.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything further? No, true. Okay, we move to item number 5, being DA 104/24 relating to 1A Belgrave Street, Cremorne. We have submitter being Anthony Solomon from Kozo Architecture.
Good afternoon, panel. Thank you for allowing me to speak. We have reviewed the decision and we have really no comments other than we agree with it. We thank Jack Varka and David Hoy for their efforts, and we hope that this will be a valuable asset to this precinct and this part of North Cremorne or Neutral Bay, really. But open to any questions.
Any questions from the panel?
No, thanks, Chair.
No questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on in lightning fashion to item number 6. This is unprecedented, everyone. DA 40/21/3 relating to 1B Pine Street, Camaray. I would call in the first instance on Nora Zhang to address the panel.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Oh, hi. So my concerns, in addition to what I submitted, I just want to emphasize that I've never received a dilapidation report from the owner of 1B Pine Street, and he mentioned he's already sent it to us, but I've never received it. And also with the boundary, also with his existing wall that he hasn't been knocked down, that is only 690 millimeters away from the fence, which I feel I kind of concerned about the safety of that wall, because that report was done in 2021 and it's been 4 years. We all know we've been having storm weathers for the last couple of years, and I don't know if the soil is still strong enough to support the existing wall. And also I wanna mention about the shadow, like the shadow report that he shared on the website, which is dated in 2021. Based on the shadow report, I don't get the full sunlight until 2 p.m. So which affects me a lot during the winter. That means my house will be really dark during the day. I also want to check about the bamboo plantation that he proposed on that area, because I know bamboo is gonna spread aggressively when they grow, and they can take over my yard. And I got a gas pipe right behind that proposed area. That's gonna cause, so if anything happens, that's gonna cause gas leaking, which is very dangerous for everyone. And with the window on the first floor, I'm hoping he can put the frosting, like a frosted glass on it, so we can have our privacy for the house. Yeah, the last of all is the traffic issue, because Pine Street is very narrow, and if he's gonna build the house, there's gonna be construction trucks and cars parked on the side. I have a young kid and an old dog, and I know the neighbors have young kids and the dogs as well. I'm just don't want it to cause any dangers to the neighbors, and I hope he can provide a traffic management plan for that. And that's it from me. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Are there any questions from members of the panel?
Just the window that you're talking about is the long window that is for the stairwell, correct?
The window facing my side, like on the first floor.
Oh, so just so you're on what address are you? Sorry,
I'm 1C Pine Street.
1C Pine.
So my north side is facing his house. It's gonna affect my
yeah.
sunlight hugely.
Right.
Yeah.
If he doesn't take that into consideration.
The corner, most corner.
Corner, yes.
Yes, I'm the corner.
Yeah, the one on the corner,
Yes.
which is south. And so the window that you're worried about is the window which is got the stairwell behind it.
Is that on the? Sorry, is that on the first floor?
Well, it runs the whole length of the house, or
yes.
depth house.
It's vertical. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And also the bamboo that he proposed to plant, I got a gas pipe behind it.
Yep.
Also that wall,
And that's clumping bamboo, that's correct. Obviously, yeah.
This condition.
Yeah.
And also with that wall, he's like on the plan, his wall is like 690 millimeter away from the fence. I found it's too close to the fence. If he got any, for example, if his house or my house got any fires, it's going to impacting the other house. And also that wall's been sitting there for years. I've just moved in 3 years ago, so at least it's been there like 3 years, and we got heavy rains during the last 3 years. I'm not sure about the soil stabilization at the moment. I would think that was not stable enough to support the whole plan, and also that shadow plan was done in 2021.
Your other point, well, sorry, actually, other members, sorry, you hadn't finished, sorry.
Oh, no, I mean, that's been knocked down, that wall.
No, still.
Just in relation to, you mentioned that the neighbour was required to provide you with a dilapidation report, and you've never received that?
No.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Well,
No, thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Nora. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I now call on another submitter, Vitaly Tashenko, to speak to the panel, please.
Thank you, dear Chair and dear Board. Just wanted to. I have read this report that Council provided in terms of the feedback to my submission. So I just wanted to kind of call out a couple of things. Like most of the kind of feedback, I guess, was reasonable. The few things I wanted to stress and call out were setbacks. When I look at the setbacks section, sorry, of the council report, so most of the setbacks actually not compliant, but still council thinks it's acceptable. Also, some the setbacks on the highest level above, I think, 7 meters or something. The last section I don't know where it was 2.1, or sorry, 2.2, because from the plans, I could see it's only 1.1 meters. That was my first kind of call out. Also, the second call out in terms of the windows obscuring and kind of frosting. I'm glad that council decided to, advising to put a condition to frost the main bedroom window with obscured glass. That's really good because that window really would overlook into my bathroom from the top. But in terms of other windows, number 114, 115, I couldn't see, the council stated that was 1.7 meters high from the ground, but I couldn't find that anywhere in the plans. Actually, I had a look at all the windows, and those windows are missing in the plans description. So I'm not sure like where I could see them. Like it's actually 1.7 meters from the ground. Then my next call out would be regarding dilapidation report. Yeah, I mean, like I've got it, but that report that was done 5 years ago when the previous application was submitted. So I think, given it's quite significant portion of time has passed, I feel that maybe dilapidation report should be provided the updated one. So because things have changed over the 5 years, the property obviously not in the same condition as they were 5 years ago. So I think that report was probably made sense to the previous application, but for the new application, I think that should be maybe one of the conditions the council can propose as well. In order to start development. And then also wanted to mention that, and I mentioned this last time, I believe that part of the DA approval, and I was reading a little bit about the North Sydney LEP plan. So there was part talking about the erosion plan and sediment control. The problem with the sites, what's been there so far, like when the original development started, there was nothing done about that. So it was just a dump of bricks, and we had a lot of rains over the years, and I've seen these rains coming, just overflowing the property. And I'm on the receiving end, I'm on the northern side, and my property is sitting lower to the development site. So my concern is that if there is no proper stormwater management and erosion and sediment controls put in place, I'll be basically flooded with water because might be some excavation happening and some construction things. So I will be impacted. So I would like council to put that condition in as part of the development start, because like the problem, what I've seen, the previous development, nothing was done, even though I think the condition was there. Or proposal in the DA application was there, but nothing was done. So I would ask you please to include that. And then lastly, the traffic, I would also agree with Nora. Like I don't have any parking on my place, so I have to park on the street. So like in addition to what Nora has mentioned, like about the safety and things, like a lot of trade is coming, would impact the local traffic area, and we have really, the street is really small. It's already filled up with cars typically during the day, so it will even make the situation worse. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George. Are there any questions from members of the panel?
No, thanks.
Still got George.
You've got George to address.
George to speak.
Sorry, Vitaly. I couldn't see your face on the screen, so apologies. I'm still speaking to.
Yeah, no, that's me.
Sorry, did you?
Just a street number. What's the address for Vitaly?
He's the other
495. 495, just north, which is further down the hill.
Yeah, I'm downhill. Basically, the Miller Street goes downhill, so I'm on the lower side.
Well, just may I ask a question just while we're here? So you mentioned you've got no, and I can see it from the plan, no on-site parking, but you enter your property from Miller Street, yes?
Yes, that's right.
Any questions for Vitaly?
Can I?
Yes, Nora, I can see you've got your hand up. More than happy to for you to make a further brief point.
Oh, thank you so much. I just had a look of the plan. I think the plan got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 windows facing my side, which is the southwest elevation. Could council please put in a condition, ask the owner to put foster windows on those? Because on the second floor I got an attic and I got a sky window as well. If there's no foster windows being installed on that house, they can see me. They can see me directly from my window because they're very close to me.
Thank you. Understood. Okay, we will we'll reflect on that. Sorry, one more question. Yes.
Sorry. Can council also consider about my solar panel query about the shadow? Because he's gonna build he's 1 floor. He got 2 floors, so it's higher than my house. So it's gonna block lots of sunlight from his side, and it's facing north from my side. That's where the sun coming from.
And may I ask you a question there? So sorry, I didn't notice it. You have solar panels on your roof currently?
Yes, that's correct.
They're facing the property.
Yes, and based on the diagram that he's proposed on 2021, I don't get full sunlight until 2 p.m. during the day.
Understood.
That's gonna make my house really dark.
Okay, thank you. We understand and have heard your concern. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
We'll now ask George Johanna or the applicant to address the panel. And you've obviously heard what the other submitters have had to say.
Yes, thank you, panel. Thank you for your time. I have heard what the other submitters have raised, and I'll quickly give you a couple of comments in that regard. This is a modification of consent, and there's no change to the external built form other than in the northeast corner where the cantilever has been adjusted to provide a solid wall on that northeast side. But in relation to overshadowing, there's absolutely no change from what's approved. So a lot of these comments that I'm hearing from both neighbours, they're revisiting matters that were considered in the approval of the original DA. So there's no change to the setbacks, there's no change to the height, overshadowing impact. The windows on the southeast facade, they haven't changed. In fact, if anything, they've gotten slightly smaller and the sills are higher, but they're all highlight windows. So there's the neighbour mentioned that there's 9 windows on that elevation facing her property. They're all highlight windows. There's no need for frosting of them. But yeah, I'll leave that with the panel to consider. But yeah, I don't see that there's any privacy issue at all, and there's no change from what's already approved. So the approval doesn't require frosted glass to those windows, and these windows have a slightly higher sill. And all the dimensions are explained in the architectural plans. There's a window schedule. So you can compare that window schedule to the current approval, and you'll see that the windows are smaller and have higher sills in a number of cases. So I'll jump into what I was going to say. So you would have read the assessment report, obviously, and I thank council for the recommendation of approval. The only matter I want to discuss is 2 of the conditions, and I did provide a submission to the panel in relation to those 2 conditions, C21 and C23. I won't repeat what's in them because I think they speak for themselves, and I've provided a fair bit of detail in there as to the concerns I have with just those 2 conditions. But what I'd add is that that window in the master bedroom window on the northeast elevation, that's identical to the window that was approved under DA 402/17. It's in the same location. It has the same orientation. And in fact, this window is smaller than that window. And it's also smaller than the current approval, the deferred commencement approval. And there was no requirement in either the original DA or the the current consent, the deferred commencement approval, to frost those that window, which makes sense because it's not overlooking private open space. It's not opposite windows in the adjoining property, and it's angled away from the adjoining property, and it's designed to take advantage of the views that are available there. Having said all that, if the panel has any concerns with privacy, and you'll see on the landscape plan, there is already landscaping in that side setback area, I would ask that the panel considers, if you think there's a privacy issue from that window, it will be open to the panel to put a condition on requiring additional landscaping between I hear it's a bathroom window that's of concern to the neighbour, between the master bedroom window and the bathroom window in that side setback area, and there's adequate space to put in additional landscaping. As I say, I don't think it's necessary. I'd have the same comment for the stairway window to the rear, and I note that that's not what the neighbour to the south is concerned about. So she's concerned about the southwest elevation, those 9 windows. The stairway window to the rear faces the rear yard. It doesn't face the neighbour to the south. And there is a blueberry ash on the landscape plan directly in front of that window. And you would have seen from the site, the way the sites are oriented and the topography means that there's no privacy impact from that stairway window. But if the panel thought there was a privacy issue, and keeping in mind there's already a blueberry ash proposed directly behind it, you could condition additional landscaping or a larger tree or a hedge or whatever it is. But I think it would be unreasonable to require that window, which would provide a lot of internal amenity to the dwelling, to require it to be entirely frosted.
Okay, thank you very much, George. Any questions from the panel?
Yes, George, just the question of the other matter you raised in the late submission in regard to the columns, that is the 2 brick columns.
Yes.
You noticed in the condition that, or the proposed condition, of there to be at a certain width, and you've made a case for reducing that width, I think.
Well, just leaving the columns as they are proposed is what I'm saying.
The ones that are proposed are what you want, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, so the condition requires them to be made wider, if you like, thickened, whatever term you want to use.
Yes.
And
so you're happy with that condition?
No, he doesn't want it.
No, that's right. Yeah, that's what I thought, which is written.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, I don't think it's necessary in terms of, I don't think it'll achieve anything in terms of changing the appearance of the dwelling. I think it's unnecessary, but sorry, did you have a particular question about it?
No, I was just wondering about the logic for it, really. You think structurally it's quite sufficient as it is, really, as you have proposed?
Yeah, because if you look at the perspective drawing, when you're looking at the dwelling from the side, it makes no difference to that because the additional width is on the inside of the existing columns. So if you're looking at it directly from the side, you wouldn't know if those columns were thicker or not. If you're looking at it at an angle, you might perceive a slightly thicker column. And that's my point, that I don't think anyone outside the site will actually see the column because of the landscaping, the level differences, etc.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, can I add a comment?
Vitaly, sorry, excuse me, I just want to ask. We just prefer to ask if anyone has any further questions of George. Yeah. I just have one, George. A couple of, well, actually 2, sorry. One, just I noted, and you would have heard too, one of the submitters mentioned that she didn't have a copy of the dilapidation report. It would be great if that could be rectified. That's the first. And so that's just a comment. And the other was Vitaly made a mention of his concern about water egress from your applicant's site into his property. Can you address any concerns that he's raised there?
Yes, I'll just quickly comment on the dilapidation report. The owner did send copies to both neighbours by registered post, But I'm sure he would have no objection to an additional condition saying reissue those, or they're to be provided to the neighbours. That's fine. That he's prepared them, and no issue with that. In terms of water,
and are they new? They're not from 5 years ago?
I don't know that they're 5 years old, but they're not brand new. They're probably 3 or 4 years old. I'd have to check the date. In terms of whether you need a new one, only if the neighbours, saying, well, there's more damage from when those reports were done, because they're protecting the neighbour, right? You take photos of all their walls and to make sure that if this construction goes ahead, it doesn't cause damage to them. If they're saying that there's cracks in the walls that have appeared since then, I guess it's doing the applicant a favour by saying that, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
And if there's no more damage, then what's the point of redoing the dilapidation reports? Anyway, I think if the panel wants to, you could just require that they be issued to the neighbours as a fresh condition. Yeah. In terms of water, stormwater, there's a condition about stormwater on the plan, and council's engineer hasn't raised any concern with the proposal. And if assuming that the stormwater condition is complied with, there would be no adverse impact on the neighbour in terms of runoff.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm breaking with procedure here, but I think it's useful to try and resolve this now, if we can. Vitaly, I know you've got a further comment you want to raise, and just briefly, because we gave Nora a chance to say one more thing, we should give you a chance to say one more thing too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I just wanted to reply to George's comment regarding the window frosting. If you refer to the previous hearing that we all have been 5 years ago in the same panel, I've raised the same concern. I'm not sure whether it was put as a condition because we had much bigger concerns back in the days, right? But when you're proposing to put additional vegetation, that will further impact the shadowing, because that will basically, I'm already impacted by the second floor of this building. I have a bedroom that will be overshadowed. So if you put extra vegetation to kind of clear the privacy concerns, and instead of the frosted glass, that will have extra impact because it will be closer to the boundary and will have extra impact on the shadowing. So I may not receive any sunlight because of that. So
okay, the point's understood. We understand that, and it's addressed them to us rather than George. But we understand your concern there. Again, Nora, I really am breaking with protocol here, but if you've got anything new that is a benefit to the panel, now's a chance. But otherwise, it's not an opportunity to talk to the applicant necessarily. So if it's anything new, please go for it.
Can I say something? This is Raouf. This is the applicant.
Everyone's had their chance to have a say. I think it's only, I'm just going back to Nora because she indicated that there might be something new that would be helpful to us in making a decision. If that's the case, go for it. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next item.
Sorry, I'm not sure if it's important to say, but it was sounds like 5 years ago there was a meeting, but I wasn't involved. And based on what the architecture said, the decision's already made. But it's just for me, because I live here now, I feel what I've just mentioned is really impacting my life and impacting my house value as well.
Nora, we do understand. The panel's duty relates to the application before us. So we don't have powers in relation to decisions that have been made in the past. So our decision before us is reasonably narrow. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all very, very much for your advice. It's been very useful for us. We'll now move on to the next item. Thank you.
Can I just mention that Rachel's now online?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so apologies everyone online. As I mentioned earlier, we would come back once a submitter on an earlier proposal was available, that we would just jump out of order and go back to, and it's Associate Professor Rachel Nolan, and who is going to speak to us, who would like to address the panel in relation to DA number 182/22/5 being 1 Hayes Street, Neutral Bay. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for letting me speak out of order. I'll try my best to be quick. So firstly, yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak to my objection. So I reside at Unit 4, Number 4, Hayes Street, which is across the road, and it's located to the northwest and overlooks the subject site. The existing roof.
Yeah, I heard you talking about.
We'll just wait for a moment. I think that's cleared. Yep.
It's cleared.
Go for it, Rachel. Yeah.
Thanks. So the existing rooftop plant was replaced by a larger plant by the previous owner without consent, and this obstructed views, particularly to the land-water interface on Neutral Bay. I have a photo I can share. Is it possible to share a photo on Teams? Is that okay?
We don't share.
Unfortunately, no, we can't share.
All right, that's fine. So yeah, it was just a photo showing the rooftop plant that obscured the view that was somewhat higher than the rooftop. Just I guess to go on, notification plans of the current modification showed no rooftop plant. Amended plans received after notification showed more than 4 new rooftop plant. This directly contradicts condition C22 agreed to in the court for the DA. No reduced levels are shown on plans for the top of the rooftop plant. No assessment of view loss against the tenacity principles were provided in the LPP report. And this is even though the plant quite clearly reduced water views and in particular the risk of highly valued land-water interface views. The applicant knows there are issues with view loss to the water from the solar panels, which is why they are noted as requiring flat installation on plans. Without RLs for the top of plant, there's a real risk that this plant will further obstruct views. This leads to uncertainty in the assessment. This uncertainty can be removed by ensuring that the rooftop plant is no higher than the closest approved parapet for the development, as noted in my written submission to the panel dated 5 May. This will also enable proper enforcement of the consent if needed in the future. And finally, I'd like to thank the council for its assessment and the panel for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Panel members, are there any questions you would like to direct?
We do have Christina still here too.
Yeah.
Rachel, in your submission, your late submission to us, you refer to the, again, coming back to the projections above the roof, that as your wish is that they be no higher than 0.33 of a metre. But unfortunately, there may be some some Australian standard requirements which require those projections to be higher than that. With that in mind, the council officers have actually added that condition or proviso that a suitable screen to complement the building's architecture be provided around those projections. Wouldn't that be if you've got this uncertainty about the height, that is, if we're unable to get to the 0.33, perhaps the screening might be in fact the best solution.
Look, my concern with the screening is, without knowing details about it, it may actually act to further increase the view loss. Without seeing any details about that. And so I don't think we would necessarily, from my perspective, require screening. It's just really about minimising view loss.
Right, so in a sense, the screen you might see, because it fills in between the various projections, it might make it worse, as it were.
Yeah, yes, exactly right.
Which is why you're suggesting we drop that out.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Anything further? I note that we've still got Ryan Crosby on the line from the applicant representative. Ryan, did you want to respond to anything that Rachel has said to us? I think it's very clear now that it's very crystallised the nature of her concern.
Yep. Yeah, sure. So that condition was noted, and we did our very best to try and adhere to that condition during design development. As a result, the condition also notes unless for compliance, and as a result of compliance not being able to exhaust into basement areas, and whilst also keeping in consideration this is an alterations and additions DA, and we have to retain heritage portions of the facade. There were sort of exhausts that we had to take to the roof. I will note that these aren't your typical mechanical plant exhausts that are typically stored on a sort of high-rise apartment building. They are mechanical cowls, which they're a very minor exhaust to the roof that don't exceed past the perimeter parapet. So the perimeter parapet is set at an RL, and that has remained, and the solar panels have remained at the current height, and the current cowls do not exceed what's currently noted. We did consult with council during the DA process prior to sort of lodgement of these plans to confirm with them how we could sort of coordinate this. And that was sort of in line with the advice that we received. Christina, our lead architect, is on the line as well. Christina, if I've missed anything, I'm happy for you to jump in as well.
Thanks, Ryan. I might just take that opportunity to jump in and just add that I appreciate the concerns that have been raised, where, as Ryan's mentioned, we've attempted to maintain the approved heights that were outlined in the LEC ruling, and the top of the cowls and exhausts generally speaking, are below that level. The exception, I guess, to that is the lower portion of the roof, where the cowls do sit higher, and those are the exhausts that have been identified as requiring that additional screening element. The screening element is, there's no requirements for offset from the exhaust itself, so it will sort of quite tightly hug the dimensions of the cowl. We need to capture all four sides as has been identified in the conditions. So the intent is not to sort of have a long screening element that I guess takes away from the view. It's worth noting as well that whilst those exhausts on that lower portion of the roof sit higher than the parapet immediately adjacent it, they are no higher than the actual higher portion of the roof, which covers the majority of level 3. Yeah.
So these are the 4 exhausts that are adjacent to the solar panels. Those
Correct.
ones that
Yes.
are going to be higher than the parapet, but lower than
the overall building.
The parapet, or lower than the floor level?
So they will be lower than the overall parapet height of 12.57, which is the higher roof level.
Yes.
But they will be higher than the adjacent parapet, and that is why it's been conditioned to screen those particular exhausts in that location.
How much higher? Approximately.
I think the highest one was in the realm of like 300 mils, if I recall correctly.
So it's quite low then.
Yeah, they're quite low. It's been obviously the concerns have been considered, and we've worked with the design team to select products that are low profile.
So that's 300 above the parapet, not on that lower section.
Yeah, so if I have a look at sorry, bear with me, I've got the drawings here. Yeah, thereabouts, yep.
300 above the slab, Christina, or parapet?
It looks like the highest one is probably 300 above the parapet, but it's below the RL of 12.57, which is the RL of the higher portion of the roof.
5.7 or 8.7?
5.7.
It is 5.7. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's blurry.
It's very blurry. Sorry.
Yeah, so just to continue that line, so from an architectural point of view, the screening, in fact, should be a benefit from the aesthetics or from the view factor that's been referred to earlier.
Correct. Because in essence, then you'd be looking at a screen and not a cowl, I guess. And the screen, we would look to reflect on the material palette that's being used in the building elsewhere.
And the screen would be no higher than the cowl, obviously.
Correct, of course, yes.
And those screens, they can be quite close to the cowl itself. They don't need another, 500 mils or anything like
ventilation space around them, in other words.
Yeah, they don't need a lot of space around them.
Yeah, that's right. That's the advice we've been provided, that they don't need, there's no minimum parameter for their openness or their distance from the cowl itself. And
just, I think the submitter's concern relates to whether the screens might exacerbate view loss. Do you have a response to that?
Look, I suppose given that the screens themselves will sit below that 12.57 RL of the upper roof, we don't feel that there will be any additional view loss as a result of the screens.
So, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Anything further from anyone?
The lift is in the middle, right, very close to two of them. So, look, I'm not entirely sure where Rachel's house or property is from that, but is the lift going to actually block two of those anyway? I don't know. It might mean Rachel needs to come in and tell us approximately where her place is in relation to the length of that wall.
I'm not sure.
So the lift is positioned about halfway along the building fronting Hayes Street. So are you sort of uphill or hill or
more or less directly across?
Okay.
Okay, thank you both very, very much, and thank you for everyone else for reordering the agenda to ensure that everyone got to have their say. Thank you all. We'll now go back to where we were, which is seven. My goodness, gosh, Chandler's. Okay, we now turn to item number 7, DA number 363 of 24, address being 111 to 115 Chandos Street, Crow's Nest. I call on Jack Freckleton, the planner for the applicant, to address the panel.
Hi, thank you, Chair. Yes, my name is Jack Freckleton from Planning & Co, representing the applicant on the development Equicentre. We obviously it's the R4 zone. We're of the opinion that the proposal is satisfies the objectives of the zone, but more generally, just wanted to make a few comments. Firstly, that there was 8 submissions to the proposal, 7 in support and only 1 that objected. It's worth noting that it is an active proceeding in the Land Environment Court. So we're considering the feedback from a statement of facts and contention that we've received and working through those matters. That's an ongoing process. But we wanted to make a few comments, mostly around privacy to the building immediately to the west at 107, 109 Chandos. That building only has one habitable window that faces the site, and we've made really targeted interventions to ensure that we don't impact that site as much as we can. And there was a few kind of considerations in council's assessment in terms of landscaping and deep soil and site coverage that we just want to make a point at. So firstly, I'd like to note that the council's calculation for landscaped area was incorrect, and we've verified that with our landscape architect. We provide 85.6 metres of landscaping, which is also deep soil. Site coverage exceedance is minimal, but mostly, or more importantly, it's a vast improvement on the current building at the site. And finally, with reference to our contributions that would be payable, we'd just like to make a note that there's obviously the 20,000 cap per dwelling per the planning circular, which has been incorrectly noted. And yeah, we'd just like to take any questions that you might have, and thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Jack. I'll refer to members of the panel.
Sorry, I was about to interrupt you very rudely then. The 85.6 square metres of landscaped area, what percentage is that?
It's 11.2%.
Landscaped area.
Sorry, I might just jump in. That excludes the on-building landscaping.
Okay.
Hang on. So sorry, can you, just to be clear, do you meet the development standard, or what's the standard here? Sorry, it's the DCP. Do you meet the DCP standard in relation to landscaped area?
Not landscaped area, yes, to deep soil per the ADG.
Yep.
But I guess the point we would make would be that it's a massive increase in terms of the site coverage and the landscape that's already on the site, as it's fully developed, as you would know.
There is no landscaped area currently.
Yeah, that's correct. And we think that it's an appropriate response given the dense urban nature of Crow's Nest, as it, is an emerging centre.
I see. Thank you. I'll keep going for a moment then. Council controls indicate that they sort of that the planning for the area sort of envisages a sort of transect style as you move from the denser areas close to the station down toward the R2 zone. This tends to interrupt that sort of transect view of the world. What's your comment in relation to that?
I take your point. I know that the block only one west is up to a 43-metre height plane, so it is a significant drop. We would say that drop perhaps is more significant than it is necessary, given the site's context. We know that the building immediately behind us has also breached the height plane and was supported up using clause 4.6 of the LEP. South of us.
Sorry, I might just add as well, Jack, the building to the west, 107 Chandos, was developed at a time where rooftop communal open space was not the norm, and hence it has no rooftop communal open space, but it presents as a 5-storey building. We are also a 5-storey building just with rooftop communal open space, and that is the reason for the height exceedance. Everything to the west of us presents as 4 stories. And the building immediately to the west just has not been developed yet, but the zoning and the height limits allow for 4 stories. So that we do satisfy that transition.
I see. Thank you. Any further comments from?
Yeah, you satisfy it because you've got 5 levels and then you've got the communal open space on the top.
That's right.
That's what you're meaning. You have five stories of accommodation.
That's right.
Okay, anything further?
No, thanks.
Terrific. Thank you very much for presenting to the panel this afternoon. That being the last item on the agenda, the panel will now revert to in-camera session. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has been online. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the minutes and decisions, the minutes recording the decisions of the meeting will be published no later than the close of business on Friday on the council website. Thanks all.